Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Duval Dive. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And you're listening to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. Listen, divers, I know that we traded in JP Acosta for your mock draft Monday this week. And so I said to Travis, listen, we're already doing a Tuesday stream. Let's get the people what they wanted this time of year. Mock draft 3.0, and that's what it is. And listen, not for nothing. It was an amazing time this week overall. You guys were great on Tuesday's episode. You know who else was great? JP Acosta on Monday. Make sure you check all those things out. But Travis, let's kind of shake it down a little bit, right? Now, granted, how much a week and a half can make, right? Because when we last did this, we also had a significant conversation about pulling in other options for pass rush augmentation and things. And it was before Trevor Walker got, as people would call it, the bag. So I don't know how much that will change our approach, but it's something we talked about as well. And of course, we mentioned the Dexter Lawrence conversation, how much that might even impact this as we even postulate that. But that all being said, what would you add to our approach for this particular edition of the mock draft?
Honestly, I mean, I got nothing. Like, I don't think the Trevon situation is going to change anything in a significant way. I mean, honestly, I it's going to open up the cap space for him. That helps him out a little bit. But overall, I think for the most part, you still know you need a third rotational edge. That didn't change because you extended the guy who was already in the building, and you still need another defensive tackle, whether that ends up being Dexter Lawrence or whether that ends up being via the draft or any other vehicle, in free agency as far as a stopgap or a Band-Aid kind of option. If you don't land your right guy, we'll see. But overall, the only big difference I would say for me is that let's use the ESPN.
I was about to say,
analytics draft
Pro Football Network. We're on the ESPN analytics. I mean, you sound like you're ready to go, so I won't hold you back any further, my friend.
Yes, so we are, as previously stated, using the ESPN Analytics Draft Simulator this go round, just because we wanted to try to get a feel for all the different ways that the draft board could end up falling. And we've used PFS, we've used Pro Football Focus, we've used what is it?
You've used Pro Football Focus. I won't touch that thing. Right. No,
I want to see how it falls for everyone. I want to see how the draft board falls, whether it's specific draft. Yeah.
It adds an element of chaos to it that we wouldn't necessarily get anywhere else. Now, right off the bat, okay, Travis. Okay, I'm not even a member of the Duval Devout. I feel like if we don't take Jacob Rodriguez here as he pops up at our board, that there might be actually a riot in Duval.
But probably would be.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts, sir?
No, you hit it on the head. Like, Jacob Rodriguez falling to this 56 pick makes total sense as a backup to I say backup, but you know what I mean, as Ventrell Miller competition early in camp. Like, you have to assume that the road is going to be clear for Jacob Rodriguez to kind of take that role from what Devin Lloyd previously filled, but they'll have some offseason competition and it's not guaranteed to be his. I love the pick.
Yeah, no, I don't dislike it either. And this is another rotational piece concept. Foyoluakin's aging, blah, 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 blah. We'll get more into it as we go. Just hit the pick. I'm going to stop adding suspense here. We don't need to. There'll be more talks down the line where I'll make the bigger overarching point as we go through this particular draft. But I think we made a lot of Duval divers happy at that particular piece. I know it's not a defensive tackle, but them's the breaks. Anyways, so here we are, pick 81. I don't know.
This is interesting because we got Mike Washington Jr., running back out of Arkansas, top of the board as it currently stands. That was a very appealing option for the Jaguars before the Chris Rodriguez signing. Now it's kind of cooled off because people don't think we necessarily need a running back at this current moment in time. You got Jalen Kilgore, safety out of South Carolina, as another possible option, depending on how you feel about Caleb Bransall and his coming back from injury, or maybe Antonio Johnson in the contract year.
But you know what got a few options is going to be. You're setting it up to get to Big Citrus. I know you are.
Yeah, Big Citrus. It's kind of hard to get around it. I mean, again, nose tackle, hard to get around it. I see
what you did there, you smart man.
Dominique Orange, Iowa State. Obviously, you have some guy who can take the role potentially from Von Hamilton, D Ham at that nose tackle spot. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit more cap flexibility as far as that piece is concerned. If you chose to move off of Devon Hamilton after drafting and going younger at the nose tackle role, that's probably where I'm going to lean. And maybe the Jaguars can get lucky enough, knock on wood, to maybe get up a three technique or something like that later down the line. But that's probably where I am leaning. I'm with you, Dominique Orange.
Yeah, I think the Duval Divers have it right twice in a row here. The Big Citrus is a guy that would play immediately, in my opinion, and that's what you're looking for with any pick. So,
all right, yeah, play immediately. I'm here for it. So the Jaguars are currently at pick round 3, pick 88. What the team needs at defensive tackle. Still at defensive tackle. Potentially, if you wanted another linebacker to maybe go, and compete for that Foye Aluakun role, depending on if you wanted to maybe get a little bit younger there. You got outside cornerback as an option, edge, so many possibilities, even interior offensive line or swing tackle, depending on how you feel about Walker Little. But as we're looking at it right now, Ted Hurst is at the top of the board, Georgia State wide receiver. Again, Jason Kilgore is still available on the board, safety out of South Carolina. What are we looking at? Demetrius Crownover, offensive tackle out of Texas A&M.
I looked at that too. Yeah.
And Kyle Lewis.
You
oh yes. All right. So
okay.
Yeah. So between Kyle Lewis and Jacob Rodriguez, you can remake your linebacker core. Now, I'm not the Trent Baalke. This isn't the Trent Baalke. I'm going to spend 18,000 picks on a linebacker kind of situation, but I know it probably does feel like that. But they can get a lot cheaper at the role.
I'm going to go thoroughly controversial here. Okay, and I'm standing on business because I made this point, but I know our good friend JP Acosta pointed out some tight ends here. And I remember him mentioning the gentleman from NC State, Justin Jolly, as a possibility as well. I would argue this is where I'd go here.
Ooh, so you're going tight end. I don't have a strong take on him just because I haven't watched this film, and I know that was the one that he did mention on the podcast. Because I would even argue for the Davison Ignobison, the cornerback out of Ohio State.
I wouldn't hate it for sure. Yeah.
Well, again, an outside cornerback, Travis Hunter, that allows you to play him truly 50-50 all over the doggone field, wherever you want to. You don't have any issues as far as wondering whether or not he's going to be back early on as far as using him. Same thing applies for the Jordan Lewis kind of situation coming back off of surgery. So you have two cornerbacks coming off of surgery. You have options as far as your outside cornerback is concerned, and also as far as whether or not guys are going to get injured throughout the season. So from that perspective, yes, we can go the cornerback route, we can go the tight end route, or we can go the linebacker route. Either way, you're going to be talking about competition across the defense. And that, from that perspective, I love it. But I'm wondering where the tie is going to go. I think we're probably closer on on tight end and cornerback than we are on linebacker.
If now, granted, I can call you Homer and say if you want to go corner, we could go there for sure. I just know that at some point they need another tight end in the building. But they're no less desperate at corner, one could argue. So I really could go either way. Because he's ranked higher on the board, I'll let that break the tie so we can have the corner get pulled.
We're going with their draft board. All right, cool. ESPN analytics, we blame you. All right, so we are going with the cornerback out of Ohio State. That is where we land. Now, fortunately for Kyle, we now have a real conversation of Justin Jolly, tight end out of North Carolina State, and Grayson Halton, defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. And that's the one that every Jacksonville Jaguars fan has been hearing about. We are currently at pick 100, and Grayson Halton is still on the board. I don't even think this is much of a conversation, but go ahead. Let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll say this. If you draft Grayson Halton, I know after June 1st, you're cutting Devon Hamilton, right?
After June 1st. I don't know that I necessarily, I probably should. But the Grayson Halton 3 technique, he can play behind Eric Armstead, or you can just cut Eric Armstead and save a boatload after
15,
June 1st.
Right? Yeah.
On his cap, or you can make the decision to trade Devon Hamilton and save about $8 million on his cap. So either way, you have options all across the board because now you have depth and you have a runway that can be allowed for these rookies, or you can just have waves and waves of guys. I don't have a strong take on this. If you're not in salary cap hell, you can just
I'll put it this
way.
wherever
you want to go.
I think Liam Coen picks Justin Jolly, but I'm willing to pick Grayson Holton here.
All right, I'll go with that then, because I'm all about giving Anthony Campanelli all the guys.
All the guys.
And as it currently stands at picks after the top 100 is complete, the Jacksonville Jaguars have drafted 4 straight defensive players in Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Dominique Orange, Big Citrus, defensive tackle, another defensive tackle in Grayson Halton, and cornerback out of Ohio State, Davison. Well, Igbenison. Goodness gracious.
Igbenison, yeah. There's going to be this. There's no middle ground on this one, I think, Travis. Some members of the Duuuval are going to love us, and some are going to get them pitchforks out. That's all I'm saying.
Sure. And they watched the Jacksonville Jaguars play in the 2025 season, and they saw the defense couldn't stop teams when they needed to.
Oh,
I
Lord.
think they'll be okay.
You ain't got to throw that much shade, buddy.
I think they'll be okay. Because you know what? I'm about to make the argument that the Jacksonville Jaguars need to be drafting a 5th straight defensive player.
Only because you see Deontay Lawson.
Absolutely. I'm drafting the player. I ain't drafting the position. And Deontay Lawson is absolutely the guy who takes over for Foye. He's absolutely there's no competition for me. And now you've gotten the guy to help you get off of that big contract, who's also a leader in the locker room. That's hard, bro. I like Nicholas Singleton too at running back, and we've talked about him in this whole draft cycle. We talked about him for an extensive period on the pod with Jamal St. Cyr in mock draft 1.0. So I'm not so solid against this because again, I want a tight end, and I'm looking forward to the Jaguars drafting one, but I'm not going out of my way to look for one. I'm not trying to reach for a guy if that makes any sense.
Another direction, I see a Nez Cooper guard out of Miami, and here's the thing. Say what you will about Coach Mario Cristobal. O-line U is a thing over there in Miami of late. So if he's got a guy that I can snag at a reasonable spot in the drafts, I might do it. This might be a little bit of a reach at this point, but I'm looking to see where he falls in the next pick. In the meantime, get your dude, get your linebacker. Let's move on. Because I want to make my co-host happy. That's what I want to do.
No, man. But and Cooper's a big boy though, 335 pounds, and it's gonna get it done. So if you have a guy that's like that and he has the ability to at least make a little bit of a dent in the run game, I'm generally going to be on board with that. His big issue is just getting his technique right and getting it a little bit lower in his stance. That was the biggest thing I remember from his scouting profile. But overall, I'm not against him. It's just kind of one of those things. He wasn't one of my favorites.
Pick. Yeah, he's got. I would if he's at the next pick, I definitely pull the trigger. But yeah.
All right, cool. So Jacksonville Jaguars at pick 124 will draft Deontay Lawson, linebacker from Alabama, 5 out of 5 on the defensive side of the ball.
That's nuts.
No complaints, no issues. Anthony Campanelli is smiling and just looking at this ceiling. This is a great day for him.
Our guts,
Unfortunately, that is probably true. And so now as we start day 3 in 5th round, pick 164, Jaguars are on the clock, and they still have a need for a safety, potentially, depending on how you feel about that. They have a need for interior O-line, swing tackles options. We got Jeremiah Wright that's available at, a guard out of Auburn. You got Charles Demings. We talked about him, small school cornerback in mock draft 2. Actually, the last 2 mock drafts, we talked about him. I don't have a strong feeling about most of these guys, like Matt Goldman. Yeah. At this point we're really getting to the development of guys who maybe have issues with the passing game as far as offensive lineman depth is concerned,
Right.
and a lot of guys who maybe a little bit better in the run game because that's kind of the area of the draft that we're now in, if that makes any kind of sense. So I didn't know if anybody was sticking out to you, but again, I like Jamari Taylor as a running back option. Also, it's just again whether or not you feel like that's worth drafting at this range. You're in the 5th round. The Jaguars generally draft a running back they're going to draft one like every year because that's what James Gladstone's done at the Rams. Is this the time? That's the question.
Yeah, and I don't know that either of these guys necessarily fit the scheme. The safety question is interesting. It feels like certainly based on the ranking that Jaden Kennedy is out of Oregon is an opportunity here, and maybe at the very least he challenges Caleb Branshaw to get right, and it gets into that safety room as such. But I can see that
it's another Tulane guy. It's another Tulane guy. That'll be an interesting one. Like he ended up later transferring to Mississippi, but he was initially a Tulane guy. So that's whether or not you feel like he's a guy who can do the same thing or do something that's moderately similar to Caleb Branshaw is the conversation.
Yeah.
Like I think he's not Caleb Branshaw, obviously, like because Caleb was supposed to be the guy for that Tulane team playing the spear role.
Well, here's why you're selling me on safety is the past few years that we've been doing this Duval dive thing the way we've been doing it, drafters. There's been a butt ton of injuries at the position, and inevitably you've needed depth. And Dewey Wingard is no longer on the roster. Some people think that's a good thing here amongst the Duval devout. But yeah, I think if you believe in Jaden Kennedy, this is a place where you go ahead and snag him, especially where he is alleged to be ranked so much higher than the pick that we're currently at.
Well, I'm with you, and I'm not like sold on him in that way. Unfortunately, I wish there were a few better options available because honestly, I'm not like sold on anybody at this point.
This draft has gone particularly weird. I've never been quite this confused on any of our mocks as I am at this point right now.
Well, because as interesting as it is,
so that would be our 6th defensive player too. I mean, this is
also a good point. 6 defensive players in a row is a lot, but it doesn't mean it doesn't change the fact that that's what the Jacksonville Jaguars needed. They needed an infusion of talent on the defensive side of the ball. Correct. And now they're getting it. So I don't have a problem with it because again, I'm actually leaning towards another cornerback. I just don't want to do it.
I wonder if you'll be brave enough to be biased again.
It's not even about a bias at this point. It's just about having depth and being able to use Travis Hunter like we talked about using him. Basically saying I'm not limited by the roster. I'm just using him here because I think this is where he's going to be the best player. And we'll figure out exactly what that means. And not to mention, again, Jeremiah Wright as even being another option as far as the offensive guard out of Auburn. But I don't know if he's necessarily a good fit for the style of offense that they're trying to play, like especially if they're talking about
me. Yeah, I don't know that he's that guy necessarily either. If you want to pick Demings, I'll back it. But again, 6 for 6.
I got you. Yeah, that's where I'm going though. Like he's a small school prospect, but I think he has the traits. So that's unfortunately where I'm going. And then even though we got another pick and a few picks later because at 166. So either way, most of the same guys are still on the board at that point, and we have all the options available under the sun.
Now, before we make the pick, let the record show I'm about 90% certain that this pick will be effed by James Gladstone and will be traded at some juncture. So I don't know that they'll pick actually like this for sure. I do notice you accenting tight ends at this point, and that this might be
because I was actually looking for Marlon Klein out of Michigan, but I was looking for him earlier. I actually thought he was gone. So they just have him listed a lot farther down the board than I originally thought he was going to be, because I thought he was going to be going around the 125 to 140 range. Which
means you have him anywhere from 125 to from anywhere from 30 to 50 picks lower than they do. Pull the trigger, get him.
Well, it was funny because again, I was looking for him early, and I assumed he was gone because of the organization of how they have their draft board set. So I was just like, "All right, cool."
I mean,
and now I see him, and I'm
like, "You're a better analyst than anybody ESPN has." I said what I said.
So the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick 166 draft Marlon Klein from University of Michigan, tight end. And
first of all, let the record also show that if this happens in real life, Kyle will be screaming, "Called it!" for the next 3 days.
You will be drafted. All right. I love making you happy. That's what I'm here for. So.
That's awesome.
Oh Lord.
I'll say this
So
before anybody asks
Go
if
ahead.
you're looking on the YouTube channel, we are not drafting 2 tight ends. That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That would be silly, but go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, whatever it takes, bro. So now at this point, we are now at pick 203 in the 6th round, and we already know the Jacksonville Jaguars aren't going to use all of these picks. They're not. But nevertheless, in this mock draft, we are not making trades, so the Jaguars will be drafting all of these guys. We'll leave with 11 picks. We'll see
I would
how that
imagine at
looks.
this juncture that they would be looking for a returner to relieve Parker Washington of those duties. Now, I say that knowing full and well, no, they won't. They'll totally have Parker Washington still returning kicks. But I think that special teams conversation is what you start having here.
Oh, so you're thinking special teams, and I'm actually thinking straight up go and find you a dog. Like I was looking at Kobe Young out of Georgia, because he's a big wide receiver who gives you what you had, what you were looking for with the Jake Bobo signing. Like he's giving you a guy who can block on the edges, a 6'5" receiver who's reasonably solid as far being that outside X guy, 4'9", 40. Again, his big issue, the reason he dropped because he only played 5 games back in the 2024 season. I believe he got suspended for something. He got arrested. He got suspended for something. And then back in 2025, he only played in 8 games? Yeah, it's basically 7.5 games because he fractured his leg. So like his big issue was questionable either decisions in 2024 and injuries in 2025, but skill. And you have an opening in that wide receiver 5 spot, like I go Kobe Young all day there.
Low risk or high risk, high reward at this low a pick. Yeah. And by the way, this is the Tim Patrick replacement, one may say, right? So yeah, give me the Kobe Young. I'm with you.
There you go. Now, there's always going to be the conversation surrounding whether a culture fit exists and all of that. But if you think you have the right other guys in the locker room and the right coaching as far as that's concerned, the right environment based on this new season of Jacksonville Jaguars under this new regime, I think you'll be all right.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So we are at pick 233 in the 7th round. And the Jacksonville Jaguars currently have the draft board where it's pretty much up to however they want to go. You have Riley Nowalski, which we talked about with JP Acosta. That was one of the guys who I just thought just puts his helmet in somebody's chest and he's a great H-back role. Right. As far as been lining up in that fullback spot, but also giving you a little bit more as far as an inline blocker at tight end. I mean, we got Jaden Roberts, offensive guard out of Alabama, that's on the board. At this point, you're in the 7th round. You're drafting traits, and you're trying to just find the right guys at that point. Thaddeus Dixon is still on the board, a cornerback out of UNC. I know we're not drafting the 3rd cornerback. Believe me, I'm not trying to go crazy, y'all.
I'm going to draw the line there. As a matter of fact, I feel like I have to stand on business. I think this is the right pick to get an offensive guard in the building to help compete on that offensive line.
Wait. Vincent Anthony.
You and these ACC edge rushers, man. I just don't get it.
I'm just shocked that he's still on the board. I'm really thrown off by the how they do their draft board, basically. And again, because that's why I say we wanted to use ESPN analytics, because they have a little bit different of a consensus big board. So they have Vincent Anthony Jr., edge out of Duke, still on the board. And again, they have him rated as a 245th prospect, and we're at pick 233. So that's why I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like he's definitely going to be a tweener kind of guy. And Jaguars still do need a 3rd pass rusher, rotational pass rusher as it currently stands. I'm not necessarily saying it has to be him. And I know you don't love, I know you don't love him as a prospect, but give me someone better.
No, and I would say the guard mostly because I'm standing on business. If you're feeling, and like I know you feel in this dude's game, you've been a Vincent Anthony guy on other pods too. If you see that here, I'm not mad at you. This is a good.
I ain't trying to have every single draft pick be a defensive player, and we're getting.
But we got it. We got a tight end. You're good. It's okay.
I drafted a tight end and 1 receiver. It's fine. Well, at least I'm not banging the table for Eli Heidenreich right now, because that's only because we just drafted a receiver. But even though he's more of a receiver / running back, We talked about
Well,
that.
and
Again,
listen, let's full stop. Let's not play with that. Heidenreich, you don't draft. His thing may say WR. You get him because he's a playmaker, right? We have the conversation about the special teams guy. For those that are old enough to know who Hines Ward is, that's the play here. Okay. This is a guy that could do everything at this time. And Travis, there's no precedent for this team to enjoy utility players. So if you
I told somebody the other day when they was talking about Heidenreich, it was Toriano, friend of the pod, Toriano, drafting. And I said it to him, I'm like, hey man, Eli Heidenreich, that's what I call light skinned Denard Robinson. Like, that's absolutely it. For you Jacksonville Jaguars. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, hey, he's just a light skinned Denard Robinson. That's it.
Say what you about Denard Robinson, that big ball. I always enjoyed watching him.
So I wouldn't be against drafting him at all. It's just whether or not he's going to make the roster. And
do it.
You say you're saying do it. All right, cool. He's like, whatever.
Damn right.
Whether he's going to be a depth running back, or he's going to be a depth wide receiver, or whether he's going to be a return specialist.
He is a gadget
on the
guy.
field.
And coaches love utility players, man.
Get him on the field and figure it out. All right, cool. Yeah, there we go. I know people gonna hate me on this draft class, and I don't even care. But Riley Nowalski is still on the board, and you can't don't threaten me. What I say all the time? Do not threaten me with a fullback. Don't tempt me with a fullback. And he is still available in my final pick of the 7th round, if you don't mind.
Listen, if it rhymes with Coen-Allen, how do I tell you no?
So Riley Nowalski, Indiana tight end / whatever you want to call it, fullback or whatever. Wait a minute. Do we have another pick after 240? So. All right. Then my apologies. That was not the final pick. Our Mr. Irrelevant pick is at pick 245 in the 7th round. And for that, we still have
Klubnik out of Clemson. Let's do it.
I will hate you so much. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So at the top of the draft board right now, we got Malik Benson,
ACC edge rusher. Go ahead, it's fine.
We got Malik Benson at wide receiver, who's at the top of the draft board, who's fallen. I mean, they have him ranked as 168th prospect, and he's still on the board at pick 245 for some reason. Again, I'm of the opinion that Vincent Anthony Jr. would be the pick at this point, but that's just me. Again, Nash seems to have some ill feelings towards him.
And I'm doing something you shouldn't do when you're drafting folks. I'm drafting the jersey, not the player.
You're drafting the helmet.
And anybody who's in the ACC is typically soft compared to their brethren. I said what I said. I said typically.
I am going to be
Allen's an ACC guy, and he's a bad mamma jamma. There's exceptions to every rule. Anyways.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna lie to you. I am disappointed in myself for one simple fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars did not draft a offensive lineman, did we? No offensive lineman. The way this draft board fell, and again, 11 players, which is just nuts. Because I don't think that there's the way in the world that the Jaguars are going to draft 11 guys.
To the no.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But we had the picks. We drafted the guys. So we have linebacker Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech, Dominique Orange out of Iowa, defensive tackle in the 3rd round, Davidson Igbenison, cornerback out of Ohio State, 3rd round, and our last 3rd round pick of the 3 of 3, Grayson Halton, defensive tackle, Oklahoma. That was a great first 4 picks. I don't care what you say.
That's a significant upgrade to the team at that point. I agree with you.
Right. So then to wrap up day 3, the 4th round pick with Deontay Lawson, Alabama linebacker. Hey man, the Jaguars ain't got no issues like that on the defensive side of the ball. Competition everywhere. Raise the ceiling for Anthony Campanella's defense. Then you have Charles Dennison. Goodness gracious. What school is he from? Goodness gracious. It's SFA. I'm like, Austin. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the school. Goodness gracious. Marlon Klein, tight end out of Michigan in round 5. Kobe Young, wide receiver.
Stephen F. Austin there, Travis.
Stephen F. Austin. I knew it was Austin. I'm like, dang, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Kobe Young, wide receiver out of Georgia. in round 6. Again, that's probably one of my favorite picks, honestly, but we'll see what it looks like if he stay healthy.
That is good. I'm not going to front.
Yeah, Eli Heidenreich, wide receivers, running back / Denard Robinson, whatever you want to call him, offensive weapon. 7th round pick, 233. Riley Nowalski, tight end out of Indiana, and finally, as the Jaguars, Mr. Irrelevant, Vincent Anthony Hill, out of Duke, edge, giving you your rotational edge with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 11 picks being on the defensive side of the ball, including your first 5 picks straight. That is your Jacksonville Jaguars draft class, and I'm very curious how folks are going to feel about that, or how much they're going to hate it.
Here, for those that are wondering, I expect that these people are in the comments right here. Hate.
I could see that. I would not be shocked. Let's say it that way. But at the end of the day, man, I think it raises the ceiling for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. It gives them competition. It gets them cheaper, more importantly, on that defensive side of the ball, so they can get off some contracts here and there. And most importantly, we kind of know what the offense looks going to look like. So maybe even, fingers crossed, you get some options as far as if you don't have Parker Washington re-signed and you want to develop another wide receiver in the Kobe Young trade, and the tight end room also behind Britton Strange. So whether you're moving off of, the tight end 2s and 3s that we have under the roster right now. So they got options.
Yeah, 100%. I would be very interested to see what the Duval Divers think and how much they hate it. I'm joking, of course. And that'll be a great time. This was a great time, Mock Draft 3.0. But until next time, Travis, tell the world where you can be found.
You already know. You listen to the sound of my voice, man. Click that like button. Click subscribe. Maybe even become a channel member. You can see this podcast early, after it's recorded, but before it actually airs. So, and you get a few extra little perks here and there. Like, you can have your certain special emojis in the chat and get priority membership, responses to any comments and on the air, and especially on the live pod. So yeah, think about becoming a part of the Duuuval Devout. Come, be in the family. But yeah, you can find my writing covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, BigCatCountry.com. Hit us up on the Duval Dive TikTok, on the Duval Dive X, and Travis D Home on all the socials, and let them know where you can be found, bro.
Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my coverage of the Orlando Storm with the Storm Surge podcast, which would have just dropped this morning, by the way, with my guy BP. So check that out, Storm Surge YouTube channel, and also available on podcast as well. Plus, UCF covering them with UCF Night Zone, as well as Locked On UCF with my guy Mikey G. Would have had 2 episodes dropped this week, so make sure you check out for all of that. Also, make sure you check out my work covering the Orlando Magic. I am too busy this spring, but I'm loving every minute of it. Why? Because you Duval Divers make it fun each and every time. What do you? See, you can't front on that, Travis. So
no, I just noticed that we got a B+ on our draft with 87%. So not no higher Roseman, but we're up there.
Okay. Well, I mean,
shout out Duval Dive.
See, so yeah, you can hate it all you want. ESPN likes it, which is damned with faint praise at that. Anyways, so for all you Duval Divers and you Duval Devout who continue to support us, for my personal champion, this is Kyle Nash, the student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.